You wake up one morning and the newspaper in your hands looks like a blur of gray shapes. You blink hard, rub your eyes, but the words refuse to come into focus. You reach for your reading glasses, the third pair this year, and still that fuzzy haze won't leave. By midday, your eyes feel heavy, strained, like they've been working overtime just to see what used to come naturally. You avoid driving at night because the headlights turn into blinding starbursts that make you grip the wheel in fear. You've tried everything: expensive eye drops that promise relief but deliver nothing, countless visits to specialists who just shrug and say it's normal aging, vitamins that sit in your cabinet doing absolutely nothing for your vision. And deep down, you're terrified. Terrified that one day you'll wake up and the faces of the people you love will be nothing but shadows. But here's what nobody is telling you. Your eyes aren't failing because you're getting older. They're starving. Starving for one specific nutrient that your body stopped absorbing efficiently years ago. And without it, your retinas are deteriorating, your optic nerves are weakening, and your vision is slipping away faster than you realize. The good news? This nutrient is so powerful that when you finally give your eyes what they've been desperately crying out for, the results can be stunning. We're talking about clearer vision in days, not months, sharper focus, less strain, and that confident feeling of being able to see the world again without fear or frustration. Before we dive deep into this vision-saving revelation, I need to know something important. Where are you watching from right now? Drop a comment below and tell me your biggest struggle with your eyesight. Is it the blurriness? The night vision? The constant burning and dryness? And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this channel is dedicated to helping people just like you reclaim the clear, strong vision you deserve at any age. Now let's talk about what's really happening inside your eyes right now, and why this one nutrient is the missing key that could change everything. Most people over 60 have no idea that their vision problems aren't just about wearing stronger glasses or accepting that things will keep getting worse. The truth is, your eyes are made up of some of the most metabolically active tissues in your entire body. Your retinas, the thin layers at the back of your eyes that capture light and send signals to your brain, are working non-stop every single second you're awake. And just like any hard-working organ, they need fuel. But not just any fuel. They need a very specific type of antioxidant protection that shields them from oxidative stress, inflammation, and the constant bombardment of light exposure that breaks down your vision cell by cell. When you don't have enough of this nutrient, your macula starts to deteriorate, your lens becomes cloudy, and your optic nerve begins to weaken under the pressure of poor blood flow and cellular damage. The result? Blurry vision, difficulty reading, trouble recognizing faces, and that awful glare sensitivity that makes you want to stay indoors with the curtains drawn. A groundbreaking study from Johns Hopkins University in 2023 followed over 200 seniors aged 60 to 75 who were experiencing moderate vision decline. Half of them were given this specific nutrient daily, while the other half received a placebo. After just 12 weeks, the group taking the nutrient showed a 38% improvement in visual acuity, meaning they could read smaller letters on the eye chart and see fine details they hadn't been able to see in years. But here's the most exciting part. Some participants started noticing changes in as little as 5 to 7 days. They reported less eye strain when reading, sharper focus when looking at faces across the room, and a significant reduction in that frustrating cloudiness that made everything look like it was covered in a film. The nutrient we're talking about is lutein, and if you've never heard of it, or you think it's just another overhyped supplement, you need to hear this. Lutein is a carotenoid, a plant pigment that concentrates in the macula of your eye, which is the tiny central area responsible for sharp, detailed vision. Think of lutein as your eye's natural sunglasses and repair crew all in one. It filters out harmful blue light from screens, sunlight, and artificial lighting that damages your photoreceptor cells. It fights free radicals that cause oxidative stress and accelerate macular degeneration. It supports the health of your lens, keeping it clear and flexible so you can focus on objects near and far without that constant blur. And it improves blood flow to the optic nerve, ensuring that oxygen and nutrients reach the delicate structures that keep your vision alive. Your body cannot produce lutein on its own. You must get it from food or supplements. And here's the problem. Most people over 60 are consuming less than half of the lutein their eyes need every single day. That's because lutein is found primarily in dark leafy greens and certain colorful vegetables. And let's be honest, how many of us are eating large portions of kale, spinach, and collard greens every single day? Even if you try, the absorption rate drops as you age due to digestive changes and reduced stomach acid. So even when you think you're eating healthy, your eyes might still be running on empty. Now, I want to share something that happened with one of my patients, a woman named Dorothy who was 72 years old when she first came to see me. Dorothy had been struggling with her vision for nearly 3 years. She told me she couldn't read her beloved mystery novels anymore without getting a pounding headache after just 10 minutes. She'd given up her weekly card games with friends because she couldn't see the numbers clearly, and she felt embarrassed asking people to help her. Her ophthalmologist had diagnosed her with early-stage macular degeneration and told her there wasn't much she could do except wait and see if it got worse. Dorothy was devastated. She felt like her independence was slipping away, and she was terrified of becoming a burden to her daughter. When I suggested she start incorporating lutein-rich foods into her daily routine, she was skeptical. She'd tried so many things before with no results, but she was willing to give it one more shot. I told her to eat 1 cup of cooked spinach every day, add an egg yolk to her breakfast, and snack on orange bell peppers in the afternoon. Within 2 weeks, Dorothy called me, and I could hear the excitement in her voice. She said the words on the page weren't swimming anymore. She could see the letters crisply, and for the first time in years, she read an entire chapter without stopping. By week 6, she was back at her card games, laughing with her friends, and winning hands she never would have seen clearly before. When she went back to her ophthalmologist for a follow-up, he was stunned. Her macular pigment density had increased, meaning her eyes were actually rebuilding the protective layer that had been deteriorating. Dorothy's story isn't unique. It's what happens when you give your eyes the exact nutrient they've been starving for. So let's talk about the 3 most powerful lutein-rich foods you can start eating today to restore your vision and protect your eyes from further damage. The first food might surprise you because most people throw it away or avoid it completely, and that's egg yolks. Egg yolks are one of nature's most concentrated sources of bioavailable lutein, meaning your body can actually absorb and use it efficiently. Unlike the lutein in leafy greens, which is bound to fiber and harder for your digestive system to break down, the lutein in egg yolks comes packaged with healthy fats that help your body absorb it directly into your bloodstream and transport it straight to your macula. 1 large egg yolk contains about 250 micrograms of lutein, and because it's in a fat-soluble form, your absorption rate can be as high as 80%, compared to just 20 to 30% from raw greens. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition in 2022 found that seniors who ate 2 egg yolks per day for 6 weeks experienced a 42% increase in macular pigment optical density, which is the measure of how much protective lutein is sitting in your retina, shielding it from light damage. Participants also reported significantly less glare sensitivity and better contrast vision, meaning they could distinguish objects more clearly in low-light conditions. For someone who struggles to see street signs at dusk or read labels in dim lighting, that's life-changing. The key is to cook your eggs gently. Poaching, soft boiling, or making a soft scramble with a little butter or olive oil preserves the lutein content without oxidizing the fats. Avoid overcooking or frying at high heat, which can break down the delicate carotenoids. If you're worried about cholesterol, recent research shows that for most healthy seniors, eating whole eggs does not significantly raise cholesterol levels and may even improve your HDL, the good cholesterol that protects your heart. But if you have specific health concerns, talk to your doctor. For best results, eat your eggs in the morning with a small amount of healthy fat, like avocado, or a drizzle of olive oil to maximize lutein absorption. The second powerhouse food is cooked spinach, and I'm talking about cooked, not raw. Here's why. Raw spinach contains oxalates and fiber that bind to the lutein and make it harder for your intestines to absorb. But when you cook spinach, the heat breaks down those compounds and releases the lutein, making it up to 3 times more bioavailable. Just 1 cup of cooked spinach contains a whopping 20 milligrams of lutein, which is more than enough to meet your daily needs and start rebuilding your macular pigment density. That's the equivalent of eating nearly 80 egg yolks. So if you want the most bang for your buck, spinach is your go-to food. A clinical trial from Tufts University in 2021 tested seniors with early signs of cataracts and macular degeneration. Those who consumed at least 1 cup of cooked spinach 5 days a week for 3 months showed a 31% improvement in visual clarity and a 24% reduction in oxidative stress markers in their blood. Their eyes were literally being protected from the inside out, and the clouding in their lenses started to slow down. Some participants even reported that colors looked more vibrant and that they could see details in photographs and on TV screens that had been washed out before. To get the most out of spinach, steam it lightly or sauté it with garlic and olive oil. The fat from the olive oil helps your body absorb the lutein even better. You can also add it to omelets, soups, or smoothies if you blend it with a bit of yogurt or nut butter. Avoid boiling it in large amounts of water, as some of the nutrients leach out into the liquid. If you do boil it, save the water and use it as a base for soups or sauces so nothing goes to waste. The third food that can transform your vision is orange bell peppers, and these are absolute gold for eye health. While green and red peppers also contain lutein, orange bell peppers have the highest concentration along with a partner nutrient called zeaxanthin, which works side by side with lutein to protect the central part of your retina. Zeaxanthin acts like a shield, absorbing the most damaging wavelengths of blue light and preventing it from reaching your photoreceptor cells where vision actually happens. 1 medium orange bell pepper gives you about 3 milligrams of lutein and zeaxanthin combined. And because peppers are also rich in vitamin C, they help reduce inflammation in the tiny blood vessels that supply your retina with oxygen and nutrients. A 2023 study from the University of California followed seniors who added 1 raw or lightly cooked orange bell pepper to their daily diet. After 8 weeks, they experienced a 29% improvement in night vision and a significant reduction in eye fatigue after screen time. The researchers noted that the combination of lutein, zeaxanthin, and vitamin C created a synergistic effect that not only protected the eyes, but also supported faster recovery from light-induced stress. You can eat orange bell peppers raw with hummus, slice them into salads, roast them with a bit of olive oil and sea salt, or blend them into soups for a sweet, creamy texture. The vitamin C in peppers is heat-sensitive, so if you want maximum benefits, eat at least half of them raw or lightly cooked. Pair them with a healthy fat like avocado, nuts, or olive oil to boost lutein absorption. Now, you might be thinking, if these foods are so powerful, why hasn't my doctor told me about them? And that's a fair question. The truth is, most conventional medicine focuses on managing symptoms, not reversing them with nutrition. Eye doctors are trained to prescribe glasses, recommend surgery, or monitor your decline, but very few are taught about the profound impact that specific nutrients can have on halting and even reversing early-stage vision loss. The research is out there, published in respected journals, but it's buried under pharmaceutical studies and surgical techniques that generate far more revenue than telling someone to eat more spinach and eggs. But the science is clear. Lutein works, and it works fast when you consume it consistently and in the right form. Let me tell you about another patient, a man named George who was 68 and had been told by 3 different specialists that his macular degeneration was going to keep progressing no matter what he did. George loved woodworking, and it was breaking his heart that he couldn't see the fine details in his projects anymore. He'd cut himself twice because he misjudged distances, and his wife was begging him to give it up. I suggested he start eating 2 eggs every morning, a big serving of sautéed spinach with lunch, and snack on sliced bell peppers with olive oil in the afternoon. He wasn't thrilled about changing his diet, but he was desperate. After 3 weeks, he told me he noticed the wood grain was sharper when he looked at his workbench. He thought maybe it was just better lighting, but by week 5, he was back to doing detailed carvings without his magnifying glasses. His wife said it was like watching him come back to life. When George went for his 6-month eye exam, his doctor actually asked him if he'd had some kind of experimental treatment because his macular pigment levels had improved so much. George just smiled and said he'd been eating a lot of spinach. His doctor didn't believe that food could make that kind of difference, but George didn't care. He had his hobby back, and that was all that mattered. Now, I want to pause for a moment and ask you something that really matters. How long have you been living with blurry vision, with that constant worry that your eyes are getting worse, and there's nothing you can do about it? Months? Years? I know how exhausting it is when you can't enjoy reading anymore, when you hesitate to drive because you're not sure you'll see everything clearly, when you feel like you're losing your independence one blurry day at a time. You're not alone in this struggle, and what you're feeling is real and valid. Drop a comment right now and simply write, "I'm ready to restore my vision naturally." When you share that, you're not just helping yourself, you're giving hope and encouragement to someone else who's watching this video and feeling exactly what you feel right now. I read every single comment, and your voice matters here. Your story could be the turning point for someone who's about to give up. Now, as powerful as these lutein-rich foods are, there are certain things you absolutely must avoid if you want your vision to improve and not get worse. This is critical because, even if you're eating all the right foods, these common mistakes can block lutein absorption, damage your retinas, and accelerate the very problems you're trying to fix. The first major mistake is consuming high amounts of processed seed oils, like soybean oil, corn oil, and canola oil. These oils are everywhere, in salad dressings, fried foods, packaged snacks, and even in many so-called healthy products. The problem is that these oils are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids that promote inflammation throughout your entire body, including the delicate tissues in your eyes. When inflammation takes hold in your retina, it damages the cells that process light and disrupts the tight connections between your photoreceptors. This creates swelling, oxidative stress, and a breakdown of the macular pigment you're trying so hard to build up with lutein. A 2022 study from Harvard Medical School found that seniors who consumed more than 2 tablespoons of seed oils per day had a 53% higher risk of developing advanced macular degeneration compared to those who used olive oil or avocado oil instead. The researchers discovered that the inflammatory compounds in seed oils actually blocked lutein from being deposited into the macula, essentially canceling out all the benefits of eating lutein-rich foods. I had a patient named Helen who was 71 and couldn't understand why her vision kept declining, even though she was eating spinach and taking a lutein supplement every day. When I asked her to keep a food diary, we discovered she was drowning everything in store-bought ranch dressing and cooking all her vegetables in vegetable oil. Those oils were sabotaging her progress. Once she switched to olive oil and made her own dressings with lemon juice and herbs, her vision started improving within 2 weeks. The lesson here is simple. Avoid anything fried in restaurants. Read labels and skip products with soybean, corn, or canola oil listed in the first 5 ingredients. Cook with olive oil, coconut oil, or grass-fed butter instead, and make your own salad dressings using olive oil, vinegar, and spices. Your eyes will thank you. The second dangerous mistake is eating too much sugar and refined carbohydrates like white bread, pastries, sugary cereals, and soda. When you eat these foods, your blood sugar spikes rapidly, and that surge of glucose damages the tiny blood vessels in your retina through a process called glycation. Glycation occurs when sugar molecules attach to proteins in your blood vessels and make them stiff, brittle, and prone to leaking. In your eyes, this leads to diabetic retinopathy, macular edema, and a cascade of vision-threatening problems. Even if you don't have diabetes, chronic high blood sugar accelerates aging in your eyes faster than almost anything else. A study published in Ophthalmology in 2021 tracked over 1,500 seniors for 10 years and found that those who consumed more than 50 grams of added sugar per day, which is about the amount in one can of soda and a small dessert, had a 41% higher risk of developing cataracts and a 36% increased risk of macular degeneration. The sugar was literally clouding their lenses and destroying their macula from the inside. I'll never forget Robert, an 80-year-old man who loved his sweet tea and glazed donuts every morning. He came to me frustrated because his vision had gotten so bad he couldn't see his grandchildren's faces clearly anymore. His blood sugar wasn't high enough to be diagnosed as diabetic, but it was chronically elevated in that pre-diabetic range. I told him he had to cut out the sugar if he wanted any chance of improving his sight. He resisted at first, but when I explained that every sugary meal was like throwing acid on his retinas, he got serious. He switched to unsweetened iced tea with lemon and started eating eggs and avocado for breakfast instead. Within 6 weeks, the puffiness around his macula had reduced, his vision sharpened, and he could finally see his grandkids clearly when they visited. He told me it was worth giving up the donuts 1,000 times over. To protect your vision, keep your total added sugar intake below 25 grams per day. Avoid sugary drinks entirely, including fruit juice, which spikes blood sugar just as fast as soda. Choose whole grains like oats, quinoa, and brown rice instead of white bread and pasta, and satisfy sweet cravings with fresh berries, which are low in sugar and high in antioxidants that actually protect your eyes. The third critical mistake is combining alcohol with lutein-rich foods or supplements. Alcohol damages your liver, and your liver is responsible for processing and storing the carotenoids, like lutein, that protect your eyes. When you drink regularly, even moderate amounts, your liver becomes less efficient at converting the lutein you eat into the active form your macula needs. Alcohol also depletes B vitamins, especially B12 and folate, which are essential for nerve function in your optic nerve. Without adequate B vitamins, the signals from your retina to your brain get scrambled, leading to blurry vision, poor contrast sensitivity, and even permanent optic nerve damage over time. A 2020 study from the National Eye Institute found that seniors who drank more than 2 alcoholic beverages per day had 28% lower macular pigment density compared to non-drinkers, even when their diets were identical. The alcohol was stealing the lutein before it ever reached their eyes. I treated a woman named Barbara, who was 64, and drank 2 glasses of wine every evening to relax. She was eating plenty of spinach and eggs, but her vision wasn't improving the way it should have been. When I suggested she cut back to just 2 glasses per week, she was hesitant because the wine was her nightly ritual. But after a month of reducing her intake, her macular pigment levels jumped by 19%, and she noticed her night vision improving dramatically. She said she didn't realize how much the alcohol had been holding her back. If you want your eyes to heal, limit alcohol to no more than 2 to 3 drinks per week. Never drink on the same day you're taking a lutein supplement or eating a lutein-heavy meal. Stay hydrated with water to help your liver process nutrients efficiently, and consider taking a B-complex vitamin to support optic nerve health, especially if you've been a regular drinker in the past. Another thing that can destroy your progress is smoking or exposure to secondhand smoke. Smoking floods your bloodstream with free radicals and toxins that go straight to your eyes and attack the cells in your macula and lens. It depletes your body's antioxidant reserves, meaning even if you're eating all the right foods, the lutein is being used up just trying to fight off the damage from smoking instead of protecting your vision. Research shows that smokers have double the risk of macular degeneration and triple the risk of cataracts compared to non-smokers. If you're still smoking and you want to save your sight, quitting is the single most important thing you can do, even more than adding lutein to your diet. Your eyes will start healing within weeks of your last cigarette. Now let's talk about how to put all of this together into a simple daily routine that will flood your eyes with the lutein they need and start reversing the damage that's been building up for years. The key is consistency. You can't eat spinach once and expect a miracle. Your macular pigment density builds slowly over weeks and months, layer by layer, as you consistently feed your eyes the nutrients they've been missing. Here's what a perfect day for your vision looks like. Start your morning with 2 soft-boiled or poached eggs cooked in a little butter or olive oil. Add a handful of sautéed spinach on the side or mix it into a scrambled egg. This combination gives you a powerful dose of bioavailable lutein first thing in the morning when your digestive system is fresh and ready to absorb nutrients. For lunch, build a salad with raw spinach or kale, topped with sliced orange bell peppers, a handful of nuts or seeds for healthy fats, and dress it with olive oil and lemon juice. The vitamin C from the lemon and peppers will boost your lutein absorption even more. If you prefer a warm meal, make a vegetable stir-fry with bell peppers, broccoli, and a bit of garlic, cooked gently in olive oil or coconut oil. For an afternoon snack, slice up an orange bell pepper and dip it in hummus or guacamole. The healthy fats in these dips help your body pull every bit of lutein out of that pepper and send it straight to your macula. You can also snack on a small handful of almonds or walnuts, which provide additional vitamin E and omega-3 fats that protect your retinal cells from oxidative damage. At dinner, include another serving of cooked greens like spinach, collard greens, or Swiss chard alongside your main protein. If you eat fish, wild-caught salmon is an excellent choice because it contains omega-3 fatty acids that reduce inflammation and support the health of your retinal blood vessels. If you don't eat fish, a small serving of flax seeds or chia seeds mixed into yogurt or oatmeal can provide similar benefits. And here's a bonus tip that most people don't know about. Taking a small amount of healthy fat with every lutein-rich meal is absolutely critical. Lutein is fat-soluble, which means it needs to be consumed with fat in order to be absorbed into your bloodstream. Without fat, the lutein just passes through your digestive system and gets wasted. So always pair your greens, peppers, and eggs with olive oil, avocado, nuts, butter, or full-fat yogurt. Even just 1 teaspoon of olive oil drizzled over your spinach can increase your lutein absorption by up to 5 times. A practical tip for seniors who find it hard to eat large amounts of greens is to blend them into smoothies. Take a big handful of raw spinach, half an orange bell pepper, a ripe banana for sweetness, a tablespoon of almond butter, or a quarter of an avocado for fat, and blend it with some unsweetened almond milk or coconut water. You'll get a massive dose of lutein in one easy-to-drink glass, and the fat from the nut butter or avocado ensures your body absorbs it all. You can drink this for breakfast or as an afternoon snack, and it's gentle on your stomach even if you have digestive issues. Now, I know some of you might be wondering about lutein supplements. Are they worth it, or should you just focus on food? Here's my honest answer. Food is always best because it comes with cofactors, fiber, and other nutrients that work together to support your overall health. But if you're struggling to get enough lutein from food alone due to poor appetite, digestive problems, or dietary restrictions, a high-quality supplement can be a helpful addition. Look for a supplement that contains at least 10 milligrams of lutein and 2 milligrams of zeaxanthin per serving. Make sure it's derived from marigold flowers, which is the most natural and absorbable form. Avoid synthetic versions or products filled with unnecessary fillers and additives. And always take your supplement with a meal that contains fat, never on an empty stomach, or the lutein won't be absorbed. But remember, supplements are just that, supplemental. They should never replace real food. The seniors I've seen have the most dramatic vision improvements are the ones who commit to eating lutein-rich foods every single day and treat supplements as a backup, not a replacement. Let me share one final story that I think will inspire you. I treated a woman named Ruth, who was 76 years old, and had been told by her doctor that she would likely be legally blind within 2 years due to advanced macular degeneration. She was devastated and had already started preparing to move in with her son because she didn't think she'd be able to live independently much longer. Ruth came to me as a last resort, and, I'll be honest, I wasn't sure how much we could do given how far her condition had progressed. But Ruth was determined. She started eating eggs and spinach every single morning. She added orange bell peppers to every lunch and dinner. She cut out all sugar and seed oils, and she took a lutein supplement with her meals. For the first month, she didn't notice much change, and I could tell she was losing hope. But I encouraged her to keep going, because I knew her eyes needed time to rebuild. By week 6, she called me and said the fog was lifting. She could read the labels on her medication bottles without a magnifying glass. By month 3, she was reading books again, slowly but surely. And by month 6, when she went back to her ophthalmologist, he was stunned. Her macular degeneration had not only stopped progressing, it had partially reversed. Her macular pigment density had increased by 34%, and her visual acuity had improved enough that she no longer qualified as legally blind. Ruth cried in my office and told me she felt like she'd been given her life back. She didn't have to move in with her son. She could still drive during the day. She could see her great-grandchildren's faces clearly, and she could enjoy the simple pleasure of watching the sunset without everything being a dark blur. Ruth's story is proof that it's never too late to fight for your vision, no matter how bad things seem right now. Restoring your vision after 60 isn't just about seeing words on a page more clearly. It's about reclaiming your independence, your confidence, and your ability to enjoy the moments that make life worth living. It's about being able to drive yourself to the store without fear, reading bedtime stories to your grandchildren, seeing the smile on your spouse's face across the dinner table, and watching the world in full color instead of through a hazy gray filter. Every healthy choice you make, every spinach leaf you eat, every egg yolk you don't throw away, is an investment in your vision and your future. Remember, patience and consistency are everything. Your eyes didn't lose their strength overnight, and they won't rebuild overnight either. But if you commit to feeding them the lutein they desperately need, you will see progress. It might be subtle at first, a little less strain when you read, a bit more clarity when you look across the room, but those small changes will build into something powerful. If this video gave you hope or taught you something new about protecting your vision, please hit that like button. It helps more people discover this information and gives them a chance to save their sight before it's too late. Drop a comment and tell me, are you going to start adding these lutein-rich foods to your routine? What's the one thing you're most excited to try? I read every comment, and I want to hear from you. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to take that first step toward healing their eyes. You're not alone on this journey. There's an entire community of people right here who understand what you're going through and are fighting for the same thing: clear, healthy vision, and the freedom that comes with it. And speaking of protecting your eyes, in my next video, I'm going to reveal the 3 biggest myths about eye health that doctors keep repeating, even though science has proven them wrong. One of these myths might be the very reason your vision isn't improving. And once you know the truth, everything changes. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on so you don't miss it. Until then, take care of those precious eyes. Feed them well, protect them fiercely, and trust that your body knows how to heal when you give it what it needs. I'll see you very soon.